follow-up to the tool recommendation videos. A couple of years ago I made a video where I detailed how I was getting into this handyman stuff a little bit less, I think, in that video than I have since then. But I was showing how I had sold a Chris Reeve survival knife on eBay for enough money to purchase some Dewalt power tools and a knockoff of the Chris Reeve survival knife. I bought a couple of the Schrade SHTF or HF or whatever knives, which are perfectly good knives. And then I bought a nail gun, which since between then and now made me enough money to pay for itself. Had I simply put that Chris Reeve survival knife in a kit, would I have realized more value in the ownership of it? Maybe. I mean, I think it's probably worth $100 now than when I had sold it. But the reality is that the nail gun made me money too. So, tools are kind of an ongoing survival thing. And then there's the people who just don't do this for a living, don't need to do it for a living, but they want to have that option of going in and taking over a location or making it more habitable. And we're talking about something that's well beyond live in the woods and eat bark, or setting up tents and shelters. Okay, so there's a lot of properties out there. You can get country, you can pitch in with friends, fix up, or bug out to, and be an asset when you get there. Okay, be an asset, be indispensable, be useful, really be a part of the team and start making things better there for everybody. And that's usually going to mean power tools. Good chance that unless you're pretty wealthy or the shit hasn't totally hit the fan, it's going to be either an off-grid or a grid-down situation. Keeping on-grid remote locations turned on with ongoing, not only are they more expensive to begin with, but a lot of times, there's ongoing maintenance costs and utility bills and all these kinds of things. A place that's really engineered from the ground up to be off-grid is less expensive to maintain as time goes on, but it's not maintenance-free. So when we talk about comparing professional use power tools to what's a little more specific to somebody in some of these survival retreat situations, or what we're talking about, not necessarily stuff to bug out with, but to relocate with, help develop a survival retreat with, that sort of a thing. On cordless power tools, my recommendation so far has been the Ryobi stuff, because it's so, you can get used ones cheap, you can get decent deals at the stores. Now for professional use, people are going to make different choices for different reasons. One of them, and one of the reasons I'm in a Lowe's store right now, is, Lowe's they're a decent home improvement store, a decent place to buy your materials for stuff. For professional use, it's just fine. The thing is, both Home Depot and Lowe's are going to have the Dewalt tools, but they're more expensive. Okay, they're professional grade stuff. Lowe's is going to carry Bosch. That's kind of like one of their other premium brands. It's pretty good stuff. It's just that it's not a broad product line. You got your drills, you got your drivers. That's basically it. Now, why would somebody have different drills and drivers from the guy who works next to them? Okay, on a civilian job site, and one of the reasons you're going to see different brands running different promotional deals, even though sometimes they're coming out of the same factory, they're just building the stuff to different configurations. Because on job sites, there's people who steal tools, and it's pretty rare for somebody just to go in and haul away your whole toolbox. What's a little more common in tool pilferage at job sites is somebody's going to grab one or two tools out of a kit and not put it back. Or, the helper for one guy's cleaning up, and he accidentally, he's going to give himself the benefit of the doubt because he doesn't want to piss off his boss. He's going to grab a few tools out of the other guy's toolkit or not realize it, or somebody, something got handed over, and they may not fully realize what got loaned over to one room or the other. And just to play it safe, they're going to be like, well, I'm not going to give away my boss's tools. I'm going to throw them in our toolbox, right? Well, that's where it can be desirable to go to the job site with a different brand of tool than what the other people are using, so that there's no ambiguity about what tools go back to what workers or what toolboxes. So sometimes, even within the same company, they're going to say, for example, all the junior carpenters are going to get this brand, all the junior plumbers might get this other brand, all the senior guys are going to get a premium brand, but it's going to be different, you know, depending on what their job is. And that's mainly so you don't get your toolboxes mixed up, you know, to reduce battery pilferage and stuff like that. In a survival group scenario, you kind of want that compatibility, okay? You got to make a compatibility decision. Single company stuff, you're going to make a compatibility decision, which may be based on the proximity of the store, maybe based on what other guys around you are using, because this is a situation where on a lot of commercial job sites, you do not want compatibility. It's the ugly truth of it. People start swapping stuff around, and you know, some of these batteries, the higher capacity batteries, they can be $100, you know, even if it's this brand. And that's where people, they want them to be different because it reduces that temptation to pilfer, because they want distinctive looking tools which use the unique batteries. And it's kind of backward logic to a lot of stuff, but it's where people's heads are at on that, and that's why there's always a place for another tool brand out there that's going to use its own proprietary battery. But the trick in that is, for the survival purposes, you got to narrow it down, even though some of these others are perfectly good stuff. That's one of the reasons for survival purposes I've kind of written off Hitachi. Hitachi has done cutting edge stuff in the past. Right now, they've kind of been a little plus and minus on their battery situation. I've actually given away the last of my Hitachi stuff. It long since paid for itself. Okay, the Black & Decker stuff, very limited product lines, and this stuff with their lithium batteries is not compatible with some of their other stuff. So that's where it gets a little goofy. I'm not a big fan of theirs, even though if guys are on job sites, depending on the work they do, they don't want the ambiguity of losing their tools when everybody's cleaning up. They're going to make a decision to say that Black & Decker works fine for them. The same with Hitachi. They want to be able to, you know, it's personal. It's your personal stuff. So you want to reduce that ambiguity of your tools getting cleaned up in somebody else's toolbox. But for survival purposes, used Dewalt stuff is decent. It's just going to be expensive to complete a toolkit. Porter cable is decent. People here at the store told me they get relatively decent feedback. People buy the Porter cable and they're pretty happy with it. It's just that it's a decent product line. It's just not as expansive as Ryobi, but it's good. You know, I'm not going to badmouth their stuff. The Cobalt runs, you know, a couple different grades. This isn't just a different color for that. You'll see there's a price difference on the combo kit, and that's one is, you know, kind of a get you to work on a project combo kit. The other one's a little bit better grade stuff, and some of it I think is almost identical, but there's little adjustments, and this one for $299 comes with an impact driver, which these days you just got to have one. Okay, if you don't have an impact driver, I'll never take you seriously. That's it. You know, that's kind of where that stuff's at. So for survival purposes, I'll stick to my previous recommendation. For work use, professional use, there's going to be a lot of reasons why you're just going to adopt your own pet brand of tools because you like them, and you're going to go to the job site with your own style of battery charger and all that kind of stuff, so that your stuff isn't getting mixed up with other people's stuff. That's the main thing on that.